I'll be working on this German ship's clock today. I believe it's pronounced A. Schuchmann Wilhelmshaven. One of the mounting tabs has lost its bond and is loose. Several dents here on the back. The case is brass. This yellow color here, it's what's left from the protective gold plating it had at one time. Several dents here and there on the side. The bezel latch. It didn't come with a key, so I'll use this let-down tool to open the latch. This would have had a cork seal here in the bezel at one time. The German imperial crown over an M for Marine. And here, the 4-digit Navy registration number. Silvering is lightly scuffed from someone missing the keyhole with the key. Several scratches from someone dragging their fingernails while setting the hands. Numerals, minute track, and logos are all acid etched, recessed, and filled with black paint. Number 9 stamped on the case. Regulator, move it towards the V to slow and towards the N to speed the time. It feels too loose. This 9 matches these 9s on the latch. These were all hand fitted, and this shows a nice matching set on the case. All original so far. Some rust damage on the latch here. Remove the hands. 3 screws securing the dial. This might explain the dents on the back of the case. It's missing some of the mounting taper pins. This logo here on the back, a winged hourglass sitting on top of the world, belongs to Gustav Becker. This logo was used by them between 1883 and 1885. Puts this movement at about 141 years old. Serial number of the movement. These are too big for fingerprints. Looks more like someone had their whole palm on the back of the movement. Some of them have etched into the brass. The mirror finish has been defaced with fingerprints. Sign of a butcher here. 141 years old, and it still retains some of its reflection qualities. Pull these dial pins and take a closer look. Nice matching serial numbers here. Seconds track is separate from the dial. It's fastened with these 2 screws. Dial is made from thick brass and very heavy. I found this key that fits the tapered winding arbor. There's no history on the movement, so not sure what we'll find here. Balance has some motion, but it's not going to take off and run. Some oil or a good cleaning might bring it to life, but there could be some hidden issues. These tool marks on the screw slots are from someone using a screwdriver that was too small. Trace amount of rust. Some excessive side shake movement on the center wheel. Probably should have several bushings installed to eliminate any possible high friction points. The regulator fit up here is far too loose. I'll look into this when it's disassembled. The side of the barrel has some fingerprint damage and also some discoloration from excessive oil that leaked out from the mainspring. These black specks are damaged brass from high acid areas. Not sure what these green globs are. Along with fingerprint damage, there's several deep gouges. This one is just as deep as the engravings on the back. It'll need to be left here, just too deep to polish out. Up close, there's a lot of superficial scratches from heavy dust. More fingerprint damage. These can be cleaned, but they've etched deep into the brass. Someone had sweaty hands, probably caused the rust on the screw and washer. Dried oil in the pivots, more green specks laying on the top. These blackish fingerprints are where the salts and oils have corroded the brass. Looking at the front plate, more fingerprint damage. Could use a bushing here. I'll mark these loose pivot locations. Remove the platform escapement. Use wooden tools as much as possible to prevent tool marks on these polished brass surfaces. Matching serial numbers. Ratchet assembly. These taper pins are tight. Separate the plates. Remove the pillar screws. I'll deal with this rust later. I'll do a pre-cleaning before I install any bushings with liquid detergent. This will remove any heavy dust particles and most of the oils. Use a clean, soft cotton swab. Now to install some bushings. Instead of using a file to pull the hole to center, I'll use the reamer to cut on one side of the egg-shaped hole until the hole is pulled to the center. Then I'll do full cuts to cut the finished size to accept the bushing. I'll use this 3/16 brass bushing stock. Cutting the bushing. Turned out great. This tape works good to clean without scratching the polished surface. Bushing fits perfect. This paper will protect the polished surface from scratches and tool marks. Deburr the inside of the bushing. Blend the bushing to the contour of the original oil sink. Perfect. Once it's cleaned, it'll be tough to see it's been bushed. Ream from both sides to fit the pivot diameter. Once the plate is cleaned, this will blend right in. Tough to see the bushing on this side. Well, this bushing should last another 140 years. Do a fit check. Much better. Now that the movement is all bushed, time to look at this platform escapement. Nice matching serial numbers. Not sure what this 516 stands for. Someone scratched the nickel plating through to the brass with the service date. Something's not right with this regulator arm. Oil on this cap jewel is all dried up. Remove the hairspring taper pin. The oil on this cap jewel is also dried. I've cleaned the movement. Time to use wood on the holes for that final clean. Install the pillar posts. Install the center wheel cock. Third wheel, fourth wheel, center wheel, fifth wheel, main wheel. Looking good so far. Front plate, taper pins, mount the hairspring, pallet fork, oil the balance wheel cap jewel. Fifth wheel. Sharpen this for the small jewel holes. Always need to manually do a mechanical clean of these pivot holes to remove any possible oil residue. Oil the movement. Install the platform escapement. Give it a couple winds. Feels like the pallet fork has too much lock on it. Something's not right with the action. I'll put the balance in and take a close look. The train wheels have all been bushed. Issue must be in the platform escapement. Not good enough motion to keep time. Too much side shake on this escape wheel pivot. Escape wheel has been butchered. Two of the spokes have been broken. And one of the pivots has been replaced and it's too small. A couple puffs of air, and at first all appears good, until you look at the pivot to jewel hole fit up. Someone has repivoted this and cut the diameter of the pivot too small. They also broke 2 spokes, most likely while removing the escape wheel to do the repivot job. Brass hub has been cut into. A real butcher job here. These escape wheels are tough to come by, definitely not available from any supply houses today. I'll drill the old pivot job out and install a proper sized one. I put a brass cap on the arbor. It'll help center the drill bit while drilling. I've repivoted the escape wheel arbor, and it has a nice fit in the jewel now. No more wobbling in the jewel hole. Customer has decided to leave the escape wheel as is for now. It's improved the motion of the balance wheel. Time to install the dial. Give it a few winds. A nice running German Imperial Navy ship's clock, fitted with a Gustav Becker movement from about 140 years ago.